In this video, I'm at the Great British Car Journey in Derbyshire to drive Dad's car. That's the name of the scheme where you can come and drive cars they have in their collection. It's fairly unique to be able to drive quite as many cars as they have. They have a right variety of stuff. Austin 7's here. Here's some of the other cars we're going to be driving. Not my Invacar, I'm afraid. That's for me. But we are going to be doing videos on the Mini Italian job and the Rolls-Royce as well, so it's going to be grand. But let's talk more about this Austin 7 Ruby. Now, the collection has several Austin 7s, and that's no accident. Richard, who is responsible for putting this collection together, loves Austin 7s. There are many, he owns them himself, as well as the cars in the collection. But this is a Ruby. This is a very late 7. 7 production began in 1922, so it's almost centenary time. And the Ruby was a fairly considerable overhaul of the formula. But when the 7 first came out, things like the brakes weren't even connected front to rear. These are, although they're still mechanical. You can see the cables here that pull on these tiny little drums, pull on the shoes inside to slow it down. So it's only so improvements, but improvements there are nonetheless. We've still got the 747cc side valve engine under the bonnet. I shall lift a flap and we can look at it. And there it is, a very simple but surprisingly robust little engine. Like I say, 747cc, flat head, so it's side valves, tiny Zenith carburetor over there, little 2-blade fan, all very simple. And a starter motor that's operated by pulling that cable. In fact, if I put the ignition on, there's a little key here. Let's make sure we're in neutral with a really long spindly gear lever. 4-speed gearbox is another improvement on these later 7s. I should actually be able to start it under here. Listen to that. It's so very smooth, it's just delightful. This engine was also used in early Reliance before Reliant developed their own overhead valve engine. So that is so deliciously sweet. We'll reach the throttle. Just absolutely lovely. So should you decide your little engine is getting too hot, you can open these little flaps to allow some heat out. It's another lovely touch. We've got an opening windscreen as well, so that pretty much accounts for your demisting. Look at this gorgeous little wiper blade. We'll have a play with that. We've got a sliding sunshine roof. Open roofs were very common at the time. It was easier to make a car with an open roof than a complete solid roof. So while it feels like luxury in a way, really it's just to enable production costs to be kept low. And similarly, as we saw on the Mini, you've got this little pull cable to operate the locks. But you know, you've got a little pocket there, winding windows. That's quite fancy in a way, these lovely little seats. And if I hop aboard, I can show you the controls. So we've got a little indicator stalk here. This is the choke. Look at these amperes, oil pressure, lovely tiny little speedometer. And a very typical Austin feature of the ignition switch and also the headlights, all controlled just there. And that's the pull starter. You literally pull that and it pulls that cable. Tiny little pedals, which are a bit of a problem with my massive feet. Tiny little throttle there, that's the brake. And then the clutch, most of the action on the clutch, that appears to be free play. And then that last little bit is actually where the travel is. But a gear lever, let's just put that clutch down. There's first, second, third, fourth, and then you lift and bring it across to get reverse, at which point you hit the handbrake. So that's cracking. Little handbrake mechanism just there. So that's how you open the windscreen. A bit restricted because they've actually got a camera in here, so they can record your experiences. There's a little wiper control, tiny little rear view mirror that's practically on the passenger side. And there's some seats in the rear as well, and I think the rear windows do actually open. Yeah, so you can, I've never seen a winder control like that, but you can actually ventilate in the rear of the car too. So that's quite splendid. Oh, sod it. I'm going to see if I can get in the back. Let's give it a go. I made it into the back. It's actually not bad for leg room, but the seat is quite high and my head is entirely in the headliner. Another feature here is this blind at the back, which you adjust with this string. And I've just undone from that fastener there. So you have a little blind that you can lower. If people are blinding you at night, or if you want a bit of privacy in the back of your Ruby. Boot space, I'm afraid there is none. There is a spare wheel here, but you need a bit of a tool to get in there. Got a nice high level brake light, look at that. But yeah, the rear seat is there. So there is nowhere to put any luggage other than in the back. I suppose you could fit a roof rack if you so wished. Incidentally, I didn't show you with the indicators. They're the semaphores here. So if I turn that and pull this lever, out comes the semaphore trafficator, as they're known. So might be self-cancelling. Some of them were, but quite a neat feature. But I think we should go for a drive, because that's really where the charm of these cars comes out most fully. Right, here we go then. I'm looking forward to this. There's another Austin 7. That one's going to the NEC at the weekend. I'm just taking it out for a check just to make sure it runs properly. Look at that. There's a little chummy there. That's absolutely beautiful. So I've got the ignition on. Not that there's very much to tell me about that. I think the charge light's broken. But there's that little engine. So let the oil pressure build up. It's got to be done, hasn't it? Oh, does the wiper work actually? That's slightly in the wrong place, I think. Oh, there we go. So that's the little wiper in action, and then you lock it against there, but you can manually override. I think if you pull it back, you can move it around however you like. No windscreen wash, it wasn't a legal requirement at this time. So free pedal in the clutch, and then we go down on the clutch pedal, we go into first, and it's very, very abrupt. And that's it, we're away. And look how slow that is. You're just pottering, basically. I'm going to second. Second's there somewhere. There we go. It's like my head is trying to look through here. I don't know if it's because the seat's been refurbished and I'm sitting a bit high, but my view ahead is not brilliant. So we're only doing 15 miles an hour, we're already into third gear. I'm going to have to go back to second. The double declutching helps there, need to watch the Audi coming tearing in. Thank you very much. And then we go round the one-way system. You'd normally get to drive more around this factory estate, but I'm here on a weekday, so it's actually a fully functioning unit. There's forklifts going in everywhere, so we're taking a slightly different route today. And there we go. Woo-hoo! They do sort of almost steer themselves all over the road. They're quite interesting things to drive. We go into top gear. That feels quite tall actually, that feels like you can get a bit of a shift on. And there are steering improvements, so it does feel a bit more controllable than say an earlier Austin 7. They can be quite scary actually. We're going to do a little slalom here. Just drop to second. There we go. This is their overflow parking, so you can have a bit of a play around here. It's quite difficult to get that clutch pedal down. They must have had tinier feet in the 1920s. But, oh, this is so charming. This also brings me back to Danny, the champion of the world, because I think Danny drives an Austin 7 on the road, and it brings back so many memories of reading the book. Of him stretching his toes to try and change gear in this Austin 7. It's a brilliant book by Roald Dahl. And yeah, I feel like Danny right now. these are great cars, and you can do so much with them as well. There's very active clubs. I know people have driven all around America in their Austin 7s. There goes the little chummy again. That's beautiful. Give it a horn test. Oh, that's proper Toad Hall stuff. This is the perfect car for driving around what is in effect a car park. It seems to have really good synchro mesh, which I wasn't expecting. The brakes are terrifying. You press the pedal and vague stopping things happen, but only just. Oh, where's second again? There we go. Quick double clutch. And you're away. And you can drive so slowly in second gear. That's a world away from modern cars. The steering is quite heavy, but it just feels secure and very connected. I don't want to get out of this car. I am absolutely loving this. Let's try a full stop. And you see, she can actually stop reasonably well. But yeah, what a joyous little car. Right, let's do another pull away. All sorts of weird whirring noises from that clutch. Oh, there we go. I've got it now. Bit quick on that change, sorry car. There we go. I'm so struggling to fit my shoe between the transmission tunnel and the steering column. So if you come to drive this car, which you can, make sure you wear small shoes, no big boots. You just won't be able to drive it. Marvellous. This feels like proper motoring. So that was the very, very lovely Austin 7 Ruby, just one of the cars you can drive in the Drive Dad's Car experience here. They've got their own website, drivedadscar.com, but it's here at the Great British Car Journey Museum, and absolutely splendid. I think everyone should have to drive an Austin 7. They are so full of charm and still so usable today, albeit I wouldn't want to go thundering down a motorway in one. But yeah, great experience and well worth checking out. Prices start, I think it's £49 for one drive of a classic. They have different tiers going up to luxury and various schemes if you want to do cheaper drives, that sort of thing. So do check them out, and do check out their car club as well. They have a car club which is like an annual pass to the museum, gets you a 40% discount on the drive experiences, and lots of other benefits as well. So do go and check that out. But yeah, what a splendid little car. Thank you for watching. I shall see you in a future video. Farewell. They're not flashing as much as they look like they are.